Hi everyone, welcome to CyberArk's Cloud Security Workshop Guide. So in this guide, we are going to prepare our AWS environment for the Cloud Security Workshop. I will be following this guide, the preparation guide. If you want to have an access to this particular guide, you can reach out to your channel's manager or your channel SE. So let's get started. So this is the table of content we have put together. So here we will be performing three main steps. The first step is we will be signing up on AWS account. Then we are going to create one IAM user with administrative privileges. At last, we will be spending majority of the time creating AWS organization and AWS IAM Identity Center. So let's get started. So for the first step, we are going to click on this particular link and we are going to sign up for new AWS account. So here I'm going to provide all the different details. So and you can follow me or you can do it on your own. So for me, I'm using my personal email ID plus some random number, and then I'm just naming this account as a management account, and then I'll click on verify email address. So I'll receive an email, and then I have to copy the verification. So I'll provide the verification code, and then I'll click on verify. So then you have to choose a strong password. So as the next step, it is going to ask you to provide all the details. And as a subsequent step, it is going to ask you for your credit card information again throughout this exercise. So you will be incurring $10 to $15 maximum charges for this part and the next part. So I will not be recording this particular section as it comprises of all the confidential information on my side here. So I have provided all my details around my address, my credit card information. Now, in the last step, I'm going to choose my basic support plan and then click on complete sign up. So now looks like we are done. We will click on the management console, and then we are going to perform the subsequent steps. In the subsequent steps, we are going to enable MFA for our root account. Again, it is asking me to log in. I'm going to log in. So once I manage to log in, so one of the things we will be doing for this entire workshop, we will be leveraging upon the North Virginia region. So as per my research, North Virginia region looks to be the cheapest one. So we will be spinning off all the desired resources within the North Virginia region only. So now let's enable MFA. We will click on security credentials. And then we will register our MFA device. So we're going to assign MFA. So I'm gonna say Raj phone authenticator app. I think so. Then I'm going to use my Google Authenticator. So now the MFA assignment has been done. So here you can see MFA has been assigned correctly. So here what you can do, so CyberArk has written a detailed blog with the AWS. So you can go through this particular blog, you can understand how CyberArk can help you to secure your AWS root account. So this is the blog written on AWS website. So it provides you all the detailed information. So we are done with our exercise 1. For exercise 2, what we will do, we will create one IAM user account. So I'm going to go to IAM service. So here we're going to go to the users. So let's create a new user. I'm going to call this user as IAM admin user. So here, so whenever you click on the user access to the management console, by default, it recommends you to create a user in the identity center. But I simply gonna select, I want to create an IAM user. So we are going to select a very strong password and assign MFA. So I don't want to change the password for now. So here we are going to attach a policies. I'm going to attach the administrator access. Click next. So the user has been created. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to download the CSV file. And as a last step, what we are going to do, we are going to sign out and we are going to sign in using our IAM admin account. So we're going to go to the management console. We are going to sign in using IAM admin. Let's log in. So once we are able to log in, so then we are going to assign MFA as well for this particular user. I'm going to click on the security credentials. And here we are going to assign MFA. I'm going to say Raj phone. I am admin. Click next. I'm going to open my Google Authenticator. And we have to key in two consecutive MFA codes. Here, I'm going to configure my MFA. So my MFA has been assigned correctly. So as a next step, what we are going to do, we are going to enable AWS organization. So we are going to go to organization. We are going to create a new organization. So we can see new organization has been created. For this entire workshop, we are going to create 2 additional AWS accounts. So the first account, I'm going to call it as prod account. Here, I'm going to name it as prod account, and email address. I'm going to use a random number after my email address here. So then we are going to add one more test account. So I have to use a unique email address. I'm going to use 92 this time. And let's create a AWS account. So it takes a couple of seconds. In the meanwhile, what we will do, we will try to create 2 different OUs. The first OUs, we are going to call it prod OU, and the second OU, we are going to call it as our test OU. So OUs has been created. Account creation will take a couple of minutes. So here, so we are just showcasing creation of new account. So it takes around 5 to 10 minutes. So we'll come back to this particular step a little bit later once accounts has been created. So what we will do at this moment, so we are going to enable the stack sets. So stack set is going to be used in our lab number 2, which is all about zero standing privileges to your cloud native services. So here, what we will do, we will go to services. We will go to the cloud formation stack sets. We are going to enable. So we are going to enable the trusted access. So it looks like the setting has been enabled successfully. So I'm going to perform this step as well. So the trust access is enabled. I think this is what is mentioned in the guide as well. So now once it is done, so now we are going to our next step. Our next step is enabling AWS IAM Identity Center. So before we enable AWS IAM Identity Center, let's go to our AWS organization and see whether accounts has been created successfully or not. So here you can see account has been created successfully, the prod account and the test account. Prod account, I'm going to move it to prod OU. Test account, I'm going to move it to test OU. So here I'm going to move this account to my prod OU. For test account, we are going to move it to test OU. So here you can see account has been moved successfully. So this step is done. So now we are going to go to AWS IAM Identity Center and let's enable this. I'm going to enable our AWS IAM Identity Center. So here you see, initially I selected my region as North Virginia, but accidentally I go to Ohio region. It's perfectly fine. So now we will be spinning off all our resources within the Ohio region itself. So just try to make note of this thing. So where exactly you are enabling all your services. So it's done. So now what we are going to do, we are going to configure 3 different permission sets. So I'm going to click on create. First, we are going to create administrator access. And it is asking us to create for billing and security audit. Billing. And security audit. So it has been done successfully. So we are going to come back to AWS IAM Identity Center later on. So here, as a next step, it is asking us to enable the organization-wide wise CloudTrail. I'm going to click on CloudTrail. Create a trail. We are going to name it as management events. Or what we can do, we are going to go to the dashboard. Here we are going to create a trail. So we're going to say organization trail. So you have to enable for all accounts in my organization. So that's how your organization trail is going to get created. For KMS, I'm going to skip it. Log file also, I'm going to uncheck it for now. And so that's pretty much what we have to do. And then we are going to click on next. We are going to enable it just for the management events. Click on next. Create trail. So our organization trail has been created successfully. So, and then on the next step, what we have to do, we have to spin off a couple of virtual machines and we are spinning off the RDS database. So for this particular step, so you will be incurring some of the costs, but what we are going to do, as soon as you are able to spin up the resources, what you can do, you can shut down or temporarily stop the resources so that you don't have to bear the cost. So the first step is we are going to go to the EC2 service. So here I'm going to go to the EC2 service and we are going to spin off 3 EC2 instances. I'm going to click on instances. We are going to click on launch. So I'm going to say is my DPA servers. We are going to use the Amazon machine image. I'm going to leverage upon 2023 AMI. So we can leverage upon the free tier. And so we are going to create a new key pair. I'm going to name it as a cloud security workshop video. Here it's a .pem file, and we are gonna create these key pairs. So key pair has been created successfully for the network settings. So we are going to use our existing VPC on the subnet. I will say I don't have any preference. We are going to enable the public IP so that we can access it. For SSH, we are going to open from anywhere, or you can open this SSH access from your machine only. And we are going to leverage upon 20 GB worth of 20 GB storage. Anything else we have to do? So rest of the things we can simply skip it. I'm going to click on launch instance. It is going to take a couple of seconds, and then we will come back. So ideally we should be spinning off 3 different instances. By mistake, I spin off just one instance. What I'll do, I'll go back to the launch instance, and then I will create 2 more instances. So here I'm going to pick and choose my DPA server, Amazon machine image, T2 micro. So we are going to use this, the same key pair, and then we are going to click on the auto sign public IP, and we can use the existing security group. So this is the group we created before. And then I'm going to change the storage to 20. That should be pretty much. Let's click on launch instance. So it is going to take a couple of minutes. So let's go back to our guide. So what we are going to do, we are going to rename these instances. The first instance, we are going to use it as a target server. The second instance, we are going to use it for the DPA connector for the AWS EC2 access. The third connector, we are going to use it for our database access. So I'm going to rename it as target Linux VM. So this one, I'm going to name it as DPA EC2 connector. This one, we are going to name it as DPA DB connector. So here, as per the workshop guide, it should be DPA AWS connector. So here we have renamed all these virtual machines correctly. So what we are going to do, so we are going to stop these instances. So let's give it a couple of seconds. Once the status check passed for the virtual machine number 2 and 3, then we are going to stop these instances. It took almost 60 seconds. So now you can see the status check is passed for all these 3 VMs. So what we will do, we'll stop the instances. So I'm going to click on stop. So now the instances has been stopped. So let's go to our next step. Our next step is spinning off the RDS database. So I'm going to go to the RDS service. So we are going to create a new database. So here we are going to select Postgres, and then we are going to use a free tier. So I have selected a Postgres. We are going to use a free tier, and I'm going to give a strong password. So this one, we are going to use a T3 micro. So 20 GB storage is good enough. Or we don't need this auto scaling. For now, we are going to connect to our EC2 instance. Our EC2 instance is shut down. So what we are going to do, so I'm going to go to my EC2 service. On my EC2 service, so I'm going to bring up my DPA DB connector instance. So I'm going to start this instance, and then we have to refresh it there. So here, once you refresh this, so you can see, you can link it with the EC2 instance. So my EC2 instance in this particular case is named as DPA DB connector. So rest of the things, I'm gonna create a new security group. I'm gonna name it as Postgres DB. So this is what my certificate is. On the additional configuration, you can note down the port number. And we are going to use this password authentication. So here, in the additional configuration also, we can skip it. So let me go to my guide. So here also you can see. So here in the initial database name, so we are going to give it as a PostgreSQL. So I'm going to go back to my RDS SQL. We don't need backups. We don't need encryption. I don't want to upgrade this server. So that's pretty much what we have to do. We are going to click on create database. So here, if you see on the RDS free tier, it gives us like 750 hours of Amazon RDS. So that's good enough for us to complete our entire workshop, and we don't have to worry about bearing this monthly cost. So what we will do once we are able to create the database successfully, we are going to stop this database temporarily. And when we are going to resume our next part of our lab, then we are going to turn it on again. So here, so it is creating a new database. So generally it takes like 10 to 15 minutes to create a new Postgres database. So I'm going to pause this video and we are going to come back. So it took around 6-7 minutes to for this database to be available. So here you can see endpoint, you can see status is available and all the different settings. So as a next step, so what we have to do, because we are going to do our subsequent step some other day. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop my database instance. So I'm going to go to my database. I'm click here and we are going to stop it temporarily. So I have to acknowledge it. So here, as per the acknowledgement, you can see after 7 days, so database instance is going to restart automatically. So I'm going to click on stop temporarily. So it takes a couple of seconds. And what we have to do, we have to stop our EC2 instance as well. So I'm going to say, hey, click on stop. So my database connector has also been stopped successfully, and database is in the process of stopping. So it takes around 1 to 2 minutes. So let's wait. So it is taking a while. Anyhow, this database instance is going to be stopped in a couple of minutes. So let's go back to our workshop. In our workshop, you can see once you are able to stop your database instance. So from a prerequisite standpoint, so you are able to perform all the different steps. So one of the additional things you guys have to do, you guys have to download this PG admin utility. So there are two different utilities. You can see one for Mac OS, other one is for Windows. So that's pretty much from a cloud security preparation guide standpoint. So in our subsequent video, we are going to perform 3 to 4 different labs. So please stay tuned. So thanks a lot, everyone, for watching this short video.